Football dreams to DFS streaks. They help you print money every single week. Fanspeak. No cap, no gimmicks, we breaking limits. NFL bets, yeah, we live this business. Meg and Steve, that OG vision. Draft room killers on a lifelong mission. More stress to the Sunday spread. Fanspeak's that voice that's inside your head. Best ball, DFS, NFL bets. They built it brick by brick, no regrets. Fanspeak. Fanspeak team. Printing money since day one. Fanspeak. Forever.
Welcome back to another episode of Talking Ball with Steveospeak. We are going to get into some drafts in a bit, but I wanted to start with talking about the Senior Bowl. It was Senior Bowl today on NFL Network or on Radio Sirius if you wanted to listen in. I've caught up on most of the week of practice, and just from what I've seen and what I saw today, I wanted to give some of my thoughts, and I'm going to go position by position. I think that's the easiest way to do this. Just the fantasy relevant positions. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier in the week, not the greatest Senior Bowl fantasy relevant, particularly year one roster. But we will talk about some guys at each position. First, I will start at the quarterback position. I think the guy who ended up winning Senior Bowl MVP today probably was the best quarterback clearly on the field today, and that's Garrett Nussmeier, son of a coach. His dad is the offensive coordinator for the Saints, and he's a little undersized, 6'1", 202, but he showed well, and I think he showed well throughout the week, and he showed well today. And today, if you did just watch or caught a few highlights, it was exceedingly windy there. With like 20 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts up to like 30-40 miles per hour, so not always the easiest throwing conditions. And Nussmeier, I thought, handled himself well. He did have an interception, but he was actually on a really good ball that the tight end just wasn't able to bring down. And so I think that is all, context always matters in this kind of stuff. And I think Nussmeier was the best of the six quarterbacks here, and he's also most likely the first one of these six guys drafted. Now, what does that mean for the NFL draft? I think he probably could push to be the third quarterback taken, but probably day two guy, second rounder, third at worst, maybe, particularly if he's not the third quarterback taken. So I wouldn't expect much in the way of a chance for a fantasy outlook. Now, do I think he's more NFL ready than some other guys? Yes, I don't think he's got the highest floor, the highest ceiling, but I think he's got a pretty good floor, and I think he's near NFL ready. So I think he's interesting in that regard. If he somehow gets a good landing spot, the Steelers don't draft Ty Simpson in the first round, which I actually think Nussmeier is probably more NFL ready than Ty Simpson. I think Simpson just has more raw upside and talent. And somehow they draft Nussmeier in the second round, and they bring in some other vet not named Aaron Rodgers, and there's ways where maybe he could get starting more of a year. But so I wouldn't expect much just in general from the rest of the quarterback class. I think you look at Taylor Green as just big, athletic. We see 6'6", 230. Will remind you some of like the Trey Lance, the Cam Wards, types like that. Exceedingly fast running the football. He's just not very accurate. So he could be a fun guy to watch where he lands for like preseason DFS, because he can definitely pick up some points on the ground. So that could be a fun thing to watch, but that's solely for preseason DFS. Luke Altmaier probably is going to be like the fourth or fifth quarterback taken. Didn't have the greatest day, but kind of a refined prospect. Diego Pavia, big time headlines, not big time frame. Almost 5'10", but not even 200 pounds. Yes, there's some exceptions who can play quarterback at that level, Kyler Murray's, Bryce Young's, etc., but very, very few. Long-term, if you are just more of a fan of a team, Cole Payton is probably the long-term upside play from this group. 6'2", 230, didn't play much at North Dakota State, but he's athletic, he's got a good arm. I just don't expect him to be anywhere near NFL ready. I think he's a multi-year project, probably going to go in like the fifth round of the draft. So do want to highlight quarterback, but truly from particularly best ball standpoint, Nussmeier would be the only one, and it'd have to be the perfect landing spots or a situation like he gets drafted and then there's an injury in camp and he, gets the job taken over. Running back is probably the most interesting position of this group. We did, of course, have Nick Singleton get hurt in during the week of practice. And, not everyone played. Like Katron Allen, I don't believe played. I'd have to double check that. But really, there was a lot of impressive running on the American side, led by Mike Washington. He is somebody who is definitely draftable. You see him 18th, 19th, 20th round. And, he looked good today. I mean, he's a tough, big runner, can catch the ball okay. But really has blossomed at his time at Arkansas, and he showed well at the Senior Bowl. A couple other guys from the American team that I thought were really strong. Keon Black from Indiana, really impressive. Indiana, of course, had the long college playoff run. Most Indiana players who were invited to these games, like the East-West Shrine game or the Senior Bowl, end up pulling out of the game because they just had a long season and wanted some time to rest and recover. Black, showed up and played, and then sometimes you see these guys, they'll show up for practice, Senior Bowl practice, so they get measurements, they can talk to scouts, but they get an injury, and some of that is frowned upon, but a lot of times like scouts are okay with it because they get a chance to talk to these guys. Black ended up practicing every day, playing in the game, and looked good. He runs so tough. You think he's undersized, 5'9", 208, but he keeps those legs churning. Tough inside runner. Him and Roman Hemby, the other Indiana prospect, to me are both 20th round clicks right now. I think at least one goes, in the fourth round, maybe both in the fourth round. One could sneak into the third round. I think NFL teams will like them. Overall, a couple other notes and thoughts. Jamari Taylor from Virginia didn't get as many runs today, but I thought he had a solid week of practice. I think he is a guy that came from a small school, transferred to UVA, had a great breakout year, kind of reminiscent of Bashal Tutin. Doesn't have the elite long speed of Tutin, but reminds me a lot in the same regard overall with his prospect profile, like how he came from small school, went to, not just because it's Virginia Tech, but went out and showed to be a 1,000-yard plus runner and really carried the team. I mean, UVA was in the mix for the college football playoffs up until the final week of the season. Jaden Ott, to me, is one of the more intriguing guys. His first 2 years at Cal, this looked like the next great running back. Impressive runner, nice frame, nice size, catches the ball really well. And then he got kind of banged up and didn't have a great year at Cal. And then he transferred this past year to Oklahoma and he barely played. So there are a lot of questions surrounding him, but I thought he had a good week of practice. And I thought he, definitely ran very well in today's game. I think he had almost as many rushing yards in today's game as he did in his entire year at Oklahoma. And then finally, two others I'd mention. Adam Randall, he is 6'2", 233, former wide receiver, catches the ball really well. His rushing instincts need some work, but there is a prospect here. There is a guy, I think he's probably like a fourth round pick. I think he, could go a little higher, could go a little later, but I want to see what he tests at the combine or whenever he does his pro day, because you like the size, you like the pass catching ability. If he can show enough athletic speed, I think he could be an interesting guy to maybe feel at least like a third down back role. One guy who I'm not as high on, and I did want to mention here, was Seth McGowan. Not only because he had a fumble today, he had a couple nice runs later, but he's an older prospect, had some major legal issue in the past, got kicked off of Oklahoma, and some other issues. And I think he gets drafted in the NFL, but he's probably 6th or 7th rounder. I'm just not really interested in him unless it's like the perfect landing spot. To me, he's just he had a nice year in the SEC, but not like a great year. And for a guy who's older than basically everyone he's going up against, I think he's 24 right now, maybe 25. So that's not a great sign, because he is a guy who is a man amongst boys. And, I don't think he always showed that. So I will catch up on chat, and then I will go back and look at wide receiver and tight end, and then we'll get into a draft. We got our guy Mike Robin here. The King Never Rests, casual t-shirt, appreciate that. We got Triato in here. We got Ant, Maurice Jones, True Comp. I think was that for Cam Black, or no? Who was that for? Or Jamari Taylor? That I guess one of those. But sorry if I missed who you're talking about. Ant, and then Jordan Kramer, GM. Good to see you all guys in chat. If you didn't know, yesterday we did add Fanspeak memberships. You can see the join button. We have 2 levels. I will just shout it out to remind people. We appreciate, obviously, everyone's support just for jumping in, liking the episode, helping us out. But we did want to, we are growing as a channel, and we're trying to keep growing and keep building this product. And, just really, while we cover everything, best ball is definitely our passion and our favorite thing. But we of course cover DFS and betting as well. And so I just wanted to thank everyone for being a part of us, and also show that, hey, FK here is now a new member. So I appreciate everyone for the support, but did want to let everyone know of the 2 different levels. You get your standard channel emojis and icons and things like that. And then for the higher level, we will have member-only videos and a few discounts and a few other things. So just wanted to mention that. And again, thank everyone for every way they support us. Cam Black. Yes, I actually like that comp for him. Tough, slightly undersized inside runner. MJD probably was a little better pass catcher, but I'm a big Cam Black fan. He came with Kirk Cinetti from JMU. I went to JMU, so I love that. But just really, I like him, both him and Surratt. Like, these guys, they when they went to JMU, it was, they knew they were jumping to the FCS, and jumping up to the highest level. And they just helped build the program with Cignetti, top it off to show what that could be. And then Cignetti, got the job in the Big Ten and said, I'm going to bring these guys. He brought 13 players, a lot of them. There's going to be multiple, 3 or 4 in defense, who are going to get drafted this year and, win Natty. So that's impressive. And Black, especially, because last year he was behind 2 backs. They didn't have Hemby. It was Ellison and I can't remember the other back Cignetti brought from JMU. And so he barely played last year, even his first year in the Big Ten, and he stuck around and had a really nice year. Anyone who watched Indiana, Hemby and Black were a great 1-2 punch, and a big reason why Mendoza didn't have to do more. Yes, let's go, FK. All right, let me get back to looking at these positions. I'll save receiver for last. So I'll look at tight end here. Not many of these guys are fantasy or highly draft relevant. Like the guys like Glenberg and Cuevas, Villari, those could be day 3 guys. Villari's an intriguing just athlete, but not anything I think really special. I think there's 2 guys who could end up kind of really getting on our radar, and that is Justin Jolly for North Carolina State. I think he catches the ball extremely well. I'm a big fan of his. Really liked him the last couple of years in college, and I think he can be a good chain mover back. And he's bigger. He's a little shorter than what you like at a tight end, but he's bigger, and I think he does a decent enough job blocking. Like some of these guys, like Chigakonko, I think is about 6'3", 245-ish, but doesn't block that well. I think Jolly's a better blocker and like Harold Fannin was 6'3", but more of an athlete. So Jolly doesn't have the length that you necessarily want from him, and Cuevas has the same issue. But I do think he's probably going to be like tight end 5, 6, 7 in the draft. I could think he could sneak into the third round. I want to see how he tests. Might be a fourth rounder. This could be more like a stash, a guy to talk about in a couple years. The other one is Sam Roush. Had a bad drop today in the game, but he's 6'5", 259, NFL bloodlines. His grandfather, on his mom's side is the Olsons. Merlin Olson's his great uncle. And, Olson's brothers also played in the NFL. And I know his dad played college football, and I think his uncle maybe played college and maybe had a cup of coffee in the NFL as well, or maybe was in like the CFL. So plenty of football bloodlines for this family. And he is a complete tight end he's one of the better blocking tight ends in this draft. I think he's going to find himself drafted in the third, fourth round for that reason. Probably never a major fantasy asset, but kind of think like a Charlie Kohler, but more, Kohler unfortunately was drafted the same year as Likely, and Kohler got injured that year, so Likely kind of outshined him. And of course, they already had Mark Andrews. So if Rush goes to the right place, maybe there's a little fantasy value, but probably most likely not. Because I think most teams, the best example of this is AJ Barner, blocking tight end. He was fifth rounder, didn't really do anything as a rookie, had 1 or 2 touchdowns, but then, last year really blossomed. So probably more likely second or third year option, but just want to mention him given his NFL pedigree, given his size, given his upside. But he would need the right landing spot. It doesn't have a good pass catching tight end. So finally, we get to the receiver position. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, most of these guys are going to get drafted. Most of them are going to get drafted, in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. And that's why we're probably not seeing a lot of fantasy upside from this group, particularly in best ball, year 1 best ball. Josh Cameron is an electric athlete, return man, speed guy, good size, runs well, and he was listed at 223, very impressive. But he's not a refined receiver. I don't see him getting drafted that early. Ted Hurst definitely showed that he belonged here from Georgia State. He gets drafted in the big board late. I think that's a little thin. I think he's probably a 4th round pick. We'll see how he follows the combine. He's somebody that I have on my radar, but I'm personally not drafting right now. One of the biggest names this week was Tyron Montgomery. He had a great week of practice from John Carroll, but we're talking a day 3 guy for sure. So I would have no expectation that he's going to do anything as a rookie. I think the 2 exceptions to this are Jacoby Lane from USC and Malachi Fields from Notre Dame, both 6'4", 200-plus pound receivers. Lane especially he's 196, just a freak athlete. Like, he is everything you want in an athletic big receiver. The problem is he's probably one of the more unrefined receivers, and that probably is what keeps him from being a top 50, maybe even a top 75 prospect in the regular draft. I still think there's some fantasy upside and value here if he goes to the right team and gets some good coaching, goes with a good quarterback. He could start as a team's number 3 receiver. Malachi Fields was the other one. Decent athlete, above average athlete, 6'4", 218. I think he's probably like a 3rd round pick in the draft. Could sneak into the 2nd round. Was at Virginia, then transferred to Notre Dame, excelled at both places. So I think he, of this group, is the most likely to have a fantasy value as a rookie. There's some other ones. The Texas Tech receivers are 2 solid guys. Some of these LSU receivers. Aaron Anderson's 5'7", 177. He's like this year's Tez Johnson. Which Tez Johnson did more as a rookie than I thought, but I just wouldn't expect much from him. Baron Brown, 5'10", 176. So, they'll get drafted, but I just wouldn't expect a lot from them as a collective group. So just want to give an update and a recap since today was the Senior Bowl. We can, of course, talk any prospects, talk, any news, any free agents, whatever we want to talk about, but we will start to get into a draft. Let me bring over Underdog at this time. And we will get into a draft in a second. We got Jamie in here. How's it going, Jamie? I know you were in Ruheen's chat earlier. Hope you are doing well today. Let's jump into a big board. And we'll count it down, and I'm going to enter in 10 seconds. Entering in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter. And hey, no location error. Off to a good start. So yeah, Senior Bowl wise, not a lot that we will be drafting, but there are rookies, and not sure when exactly. I know PPR Tyler and I are going to talk about the rookies. I think one's on my channel, one's on his channel, kind of break down things. The more I look at this rookie class, the more I see it as it's definitely not as strong as last year's rookie class. But I think there's fantasy value at all three positions, namely Mendoza, quarterback, and namely Sadiq at tight end. But running back has a few names, even Singleton. In a 20-round format, I think Singleton's still draftable. There's about 6 or 7 other running back names I think are intriguing enough. Then another like 5 who you can take a 19th, 20th round flyer on. Receiver, I think you have, we're going to have 4 to 5 first rounders. I think we're going to have, that many second rounders and probably that many or more third rounders. So I think there's 15 plus guys that we're probably really going to be interested in this year. It's just finding them as we go forward. Let's see. I got the second spot. We have Kramer in here at the 6th spot, King of QC at 7, FK at 8, Crutches in here at 9. We have King of Kings, 1, 2, 3. I must say I love the name Drunk on Pappy. That's a good name. But yeah, second spot. I don't mix it up too much. Basically right now, probably Chase Gibbs at the second spot. Probably go Gibbs here, but we will see. So, and I do want to talk about this with Huheems on stream one time. I heard Huheems had BioBangle on, and they were having a conversation I caught from their early stream talking about the rookie class, and Huheems is right. It definitely disappointed last year. Now, I think it disappointed for a variety of reasons, a conflicts of reasons. Some just like bad situations like Genty or Cam Ward, just on terrible offenses, terrible situations, terrible coaching, talent around them. Others, for whatever reason, the guy couldn't earn enough of a role, like Golden or Higgins, Jaden Higgins, and Noel from that same team. Trey Harris also, Jack Besh, et cetera. A lot of these second round receivers just didn't get the role that we were kind of hoping for, and even Golden from the first round. And then, running back wise, you had some of that like Caleb Johnson, but, and a little bit, Travion Henderson, just as we still see, the Patriots just feel more comfortable with Stevenson. But I also think injuries played such a big role because Hampton and Scadaboo, I think, would have been absolute league winners if they stayed healthy. I think Travis Hunter, look at all those big games Parker Washington was having. I'm pretty sure that, a lot of that would have been Travis Hunter or maybe they don't trade for Jacoby Myers if he didn't get injured. So, and then even like other guys like QJ, Judkins got injured, missed some time. You know, few other little nitpick injuries here or there that helped sideline some guys that maybe could have had decent fantasy days. One thing I will say is quarterback. I think we actually got more from the quarterback position than we expected. Not just the Browns situation, Gabriel and Shador, who got a little work, but honestly, Jackson Dart was really good, and Tyler Shuck, was on the BBM winner. But not just that, like, he was good down the stretch. I mean, he had a lot of usable, solid weeks, and we're obviously much higher drafting him now. So even though Ward was kind of a bust for most of the season, we actually got probably more quarterback production than we thought going in. How many rookies were on a winning team last year? I'd have to bring up. Are you talking the winning BBM team or the winning big board team? I don't know. Winning BBM team, I know I'd Chuck. I thought there was another one. I'd have to double check that. As for the winning big board team, I'm not sure if anyone has it. Team underdog team 2025. Let's see if Google can find it. Probably not. So that is a good question. I know the guy who's won is in Chad Candle's chat. Maybe I can see if I can connect with him and find that out. So, I think it depends. Like the year that 2 years ago when I finished fourth in the big board, I think I had four rookies on my team. The guy who won, I want to say, had 5. So I can double check, but anyways, I'm coming up here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Chris Olave. Just mix it up a little bit. I've taken a few pick and shares so far. Let's mix it up. Keep my combos a little different. I am a big bourbon guy. I've definitely never bought Pappy's. I've sipped it a couple times, gotten a couple pours from friends, but usually I'm in like that mid-tier reasonable bourbon, $40 to $60 a bottle type range, and I know that can vary where your location is. Russell's Reserve is probably my go-to favorite. Long Branch, also from the Russell's family, which is partnered with Matthew McConaughey, is in that mix as well. An Indiana bourbon, Remus, is one I really like. A lot of the Old Foresters, not like necessarily the main Old Forester, but like the 1920 and those kind. So yeah, I like trying different bourbons and like to have fun with it. Big reason it missed is most of the APTs got esteemed way too high. Now we're back to round 3 college guys being low. Yeah, no, and this is a good point. Like, and some of it is we should have known from the situation. And to be fair, I think we did in a lot of cases. Like Harvey and Henderson, I personally was lower on because I knew they'd share their roles for the teams that they're on. And now as we saw it, like Henderson, like Patriots just fully never trusted him, and he was always like a home run hitter. And if not for Stevenson missing those couple weeks, Henderson might have had just an awful fantasy season. Harvey definitely benefited a little bit from Dobbins' injury as well, but I think that ended up being the issue. Is so many guys just got some of the worst situations. I mean, the Browns took not just 2 quarterbacks, but they took 2 running backs, a tight end, one of the top tight ends. Like, just bad. And sure, can bad teams produce good plays? Of course, the Giants were one of the worst teams and had two of the most fun rookies in Dart and Scadaboo. But some teams are just awful. Like Genty, he had some monster games, including Week 16, but man, that team was just bad. Like that Raiders team, what was it? That Chiefs game, they had like 120 yards of total offense. I mean, just horrendous. I don't even know if it was that much, to be honest. So I think landing spot means so much. I mean, I think a lot of the steam last year was occurring without taking any landing spot in consideration. And it's not like draft capital matters. It absolutely does. And then some teams, to me, the most shocking one is the Texans, because they draft two rookies and Kirk coming back from an injury, and somehow Xavier Hutchinson was ahead of them on the depth chart, Higgins and Nolan. I like, that's what the coaches saw. I don't know if that was valid. Higgins was definitely better down the stretch. And it just felt very weird that they didn't give him a bigger chance. So, yeah, sometimes that's just the way it plays out. I mean, it's crazy. One of the ones that we were so hoping, the Bears would add a running back. Bears add a running back. They take a 7th rounder, so people barely take him. Coming on guy, and he ends up being one of the best fantasy plays. Definitely one of the best fantasy values. But he, in terms of running back rookie points, I'd have to look, but I'm sure he was top 5. So yeah, just very, very shocking. And like Burden, another one, like just went to a situation, and then also he dealt with like a injury in camp, and that can sap some guys for sure. We definitely didn't have a good run out with injuries then. I'm gonna go QJ. I have a tough time taking Harvey right now. A lot of touchdowns, which is great. A lot of catches, which is nice, but I just don't think he's gonna rack up the yardage. So 3 running backs early. I'm going to take a second receiver here. I'll go Terry McLaurin for a little more certainty. I mean, Tyson Tate definitely have potential to be higher upside than Terry, depending on where they land. But Terry, I know what I'm getting here. Yeah, the Caleb one is the one that shocked me, because you just had a situation where they signed Gainwell for like 1.2 million, like just basically league minimum. They have Jaylen Warren, but Jaylen Warren has always shown like he's capped in his role. Like I know there's a lot of Jaylen Warren fans out there, but he's just, and I said this last year, like people want him to be Austin Eckler, but he couldn't even be Austin Eckler at Austin Eckler's late stage of his career. Like I don't think he was ever going to be Austin Eckler, young Austin Eckler, when Eckler was like a full-time back and could just totally dominate and also have a major red zone role. And Warren did end up with like 6 touchdowns this year. And I think that's more than he had his first 3 years combined. Some of that is, of course, Najee being gone, but Gainwell actually had just as many touchdowns. Actually, I believe more. I'm almost positive in less work. And so it just seemed ripe for Caleb Johnson to come into a 200 plus carry. Warren's going to get more passing work, but 15 to 20 catches, 200 carry type situation, and a lot of red zone work. And it just never materialized. And whether it was Arthur Smith, whether it was Aaron Rodgers, a combo of them, whether it was just Caleb Johnson. And the answer probably is just a complete combo of it all. It just never, that opportunity just never came to form. Caleb Johnson is too low for Rodgers. Bourbon scene is, oh, nice. Yeah, unfortunately, I live in Virginia, and so tough to get, like, even things like, which I really like, Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare. Those are next to impossible for me to get. And those are relatively reasonable price bottles, but they're just never in stock. And so sometimes when I visit family or something, I get, we'll get a bottle and stuff like that. But it's just not easy in Virginia, unfortunately. Favorite AFC West team to stack so far? Well, I think two come to mind, and that's the Chargers and Broncos. The AFC West is one of the few divisions we're fairly confident in all the quarterbacks. Even if Mahomes were to miss a game or two, we know he's playing most of the year and what he brings to the table. But the Chargers and Broncos, have, I think, the best quarterback situations right now with Mahomes coming back from the injury. And while you have to take, McConkey in the third round or like Sutton in the, late 50s, early 60s, something that's actually lower than he went last year. What do I do here? I'm surprised how much receiver I picked over. I will take Ramondre. And but then you take Bo Nix, and then his other receivers all go after, so that's nice. And Herbert goes, his ADP is now fallen to about 73, which is also nice. And with the exception of McConkey, everyone goes after him. I don't love these receivers. I might take Herbert here. I think I am. And and Gadsden goes after him, and his other receivers. So I think he's really potentially a great pick, especially with adding Mike McDaniel. And as I've said before, like, you just look at Herbert's splits with Joe Alt on the field, and he was dominant. He was one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. His numbers are still good overall. But, Alt should be back. Rashawn Slater should be back. And ideally, they just completely upgrade the offensive line as well. So those are definitely my two favorite AFC West teams to stack. And I like Hampton. Harvey is a tough one for me, like I said, but I like Hampton's price. So Chargers especially feel pretty well priced, and they're easy to stack up. The Chiefs right now are the toughest one. I don't mind Mahomes' price. I like Worthy's price. Kelsey's price is fine, but there is the retirement risk. I should say Kelsey's price is great, but there is a retirement risk. So, regardless, I don't want to be overweight. Now, if he says he's coming back and he stays in the, sub 150, I will have a ton of Kelsey, because he finished third in total points last year and like ninth in points per game. And that was with Mahomes missing some time himself. But we don't know who, Rice. I don't love Rice's price. We don't know who the Chiefs running back is going to be. We don't know who the Chiefs' other receivers are going to be outside of Worthy and Rice. And, Rice has legal issues, and just in general, I just don't love his current price, 26 or whatever it is. So that one's the toughest to stack. Raiders, I don't love Bowers' price. Genty's fine, but you can get Trey Tucker or Besh late to go with Mendoza. And if you do get Bowers, I definitely would be targeting Mendoza. Chargers feels elite. Like that offense was so good last year. And as I was talking about rookies before, like Hampton would have smashed. Like, I don't think people realize just how good Hampton was. How good of a situation Hampton was in last year. He had a couple of really good games, and then he suffers a terrible injury. I mean, he was gone a long time. What was it, week 6 to week 12? They had their bye week 12, so they come back week 13 or 14. Like, it was bad. And actually, I want to say it was week 14 he came back. And in that time, Vidal had multiple 100-yard games. And Vidal had other like great matchups that he failed in, which Hampton probably would have been much more likely to succeed in. So I really think Hampton, particularly once Najee went down, and that was the other thing, like Chargers in general, they lose Hampton, Najee, even Haskins, their third back, to get to Vidal. The receivers stayed generally healthy. QJ missed a little bit of time, but Herbert was dealing with an injury. Their offensive line was a huge mess. And we are on the clock here. I will take Worthy. Actually, I'm going to take Jadarian Price. I'm going to stop at 5 running backs here. Go very running back heavy. Go 9 receiver build. QJ did go, yeah. I might just pull. I hate pulling up Gadsden, Buffalo, Porta. I think receivers more important. I'll take Worthy here and worrying about a stack. So I think I'm going 5 running backs here. Love this running back room. Jadarian Price, Gibbs, Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, and Ramondre Stevenson. So I think that running back room is definitely elite. But yeah, I will need to catch up at receiver. %100%. I mean, I don't think Greg Roman's fired if Alt and Slater don't get injured. And they had other offensive line injuries as well. It was just bad. But part of the reason why he was fired was he could not adapt to those injuries. And Herbert was just getting killed out there. In fact, got injured because of that. And I do think that's one of the reasons why they're interested in Mike McDaniel. Because Mike McDaniel, look, the last couple of years, Mike McDaniel's first couple of years in Miami, they had a pretty decent offensive line. Last couple of years, they just got away from people and just haven't been able to invest in it. It's been bad. And, Tua still took some hits, but they still had a great running game. And Tua got the ball out. I mean, it wasn't like Raiders bad, right? Like Herbert, if they have to adjust Herbert, I think Mike McDaniel's the type of guy who can do it. So, yeah, I'm really excited for what McDaniel can do for the receivers, the rushing system. Keep in mind, it comes from the Shanahan tree. Obviously, they produce some great backs and great running systems. Shanahan, McVay, Packers, LaFleur, like we see that time and time again. So I really think just across the board, it's wheels up for the Chargers offense. And right now the prices aren't fully reflecting it. Like McConkey, we're getting a round plus discount from last year, and he's probably just in a way better situation, with the offense coaching system. And Hampton's higher than last year, but I just think it's truly one of the best, situations to be in. It's coming up in 2 picks. This is receiver, just this run of receivers. Shakir, Coker, Godwin, Golden. Not great. Actually going to go Baker first just because quarterback is really thinned out. And I mean, I can look for Shuck next time around, but clearly not getting a stack with my other guys. Just not forcing it. Don't, Wandale, we'll see where he's at. Keyshawn Booty, I think he's fine, but also just worry Kyle Williams gets an expanded role. There's some other situations. There's some other receivers I like here. Like I'm probably definitely higher on Higgins than Samuel. Ooh, he takes Shuck. No, probably wasn't going to get pushed back to me, but I'll go Jaden Higgins. Samuel Dubs is a free agent. Concepcion and Surratt are both very intriguing rookies. I think Concepcion probably more likely a first rounder. Surratt, I still have ranked a little higher. I just think he's so NFL ready, and his red zone ability, touchdowns are what's going to matter. Like he's the type of guy who could just come into the league and have, like a better Isaiah Tesla, right? Like Tesla had 6 touchdowns as working in very limited work. Like, Surratt is more refined an all-around skill set. I mean, Tesla's better freak athlete. I just think both are intriguing. Probably won't end up with that big of a gap between the two. But yeah. Don't worry, Steve. You can sweep up the best value in 16th, 17th round. Young OG Randy Moss. I know who you're talking about. I don't know if I'd pop him there. But as you've seen, I will take some Elikayo Manor. I do think Tennessee's adding at least one guy. I think DK is probably ahead of him, Iron Manor as well. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how Dable views this team. I actually think TK, Dable, and DK, that's a very good combo. We know how, Dable coming from like the Bills and Patriots system and Giants, like the slot receivers can eat in that system. And I think DK will play a lot out the slot, obviously. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good landing spot. So running back, focus on these other positions. Don't want to tempt myself to take a 6th running back. So, Ant, you were talking about bourbon earlier. What's your bourbon of choice? Oof. Take my first tight end, Mark Andrews. Blanton's, if it can be found. Good to see you, Jeff Cooley. Yeah, no, I have to order Blanton's. Like that is not something I can easily get. It is very, very tasty though. Oh, geez, I hate this area of receiver. So let me go with the quarterback. Let me get some Cam Ward in my life, and maybe that sets up Elikayo Manor later. I know Jalen McMillan would be a stack. I just have a tough time taking, what I think is going to be the clear 4th receiver. I still believe Mike Evans is back, but we'll see. So 3-5-4-1. definitely need to catch up at receiver. But I'm also looking at this team. I'm expecting the flex to almost always come from the running back room. So I truly am going to be drafting 9 receivers for ideally 3 spots. Look for double oak. Yeah. No, I like and that's the thing. Like I've said before, like a lot of these, Woodford or what are some others like? I can't think of the name. Maker's Mark, ones like that are widely popular. Like people know the basic level, and which can be fine, but if you try like something a little like a small batch or double oak or some different version of that, it might be slightly more money, but to me a lot of times the taste is just way better. For an example, like what's the name of the Russell's Reserve is the Russell family, and they do wild turkey. So your regular wild turkey is fine, but like the wild turkey 151 or like the Russell's Reserve stuff, I just think is considerably better. Now the Russell's Reserve stuff is actually cheaper than a lot of other stuff, so that's one of my favorites. If you haven't tried it, I will highly recommend Russell's Reserve 10-year. Ooh, Mitchers is a good one. Big fan of that. Don't worry, I'll protect the integrity of the draft and not let them get the winning stack. All right, coming up here, theoretically, Jerry Jeudy is the Browns' #1 receiver. Really am hoping to get Troy Franklin back to me. There we go. That feels good. And then, hey, I get my stack here with TK. I'm going to do that. So probably not taking IM Manor on this. Maybe we'll take a stand, stay strong. Yeah, this receiver situation gets thin fast. I do like that IM Manor's ADP is still in 200s. I mean, that feels like a value. I wonder where Ridley will end up. I'm assuming he gets cut. And I also don't think he's done. I don't think I've taken any Ridley yet. But, in the 170s, to me, it's not a terrible speculative pick. I think there's a lot of places he could be, at least the 2. A few places he could be the 1. So, done at quarterback, just looking wide receiver and tight end from here on out. 13 picks away, so plenty is likely to change. And wow, that is an ADP gap of Tank Dell there to Trey Harris, who I absolutely hope I can get back. We got Best Ball on call in here, and thank you, Best Ball Call, for the like and reminding everyone, hit the like button. Appreciate everyone for all your support. We got Thad in here, Fantasy Monster. I know ball, love it. And I think that will very much improve this running back room of Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, Ramondre Stevenson, and Jadarian Price. So it went very running back heavy. You can just stick with the 5 and go from there. And for those who are just joining, if you missed it earlier, yesterday we launched members and members privileges for YouTube. So you can see it under the join button, and there's 2 levels, and we appreciate anyone's support who wants to support us on this journey, and just want to thank everyone for that. We got my sister checking in. Hey brother, I know she's gonna like that running back room, even though I don't have Scatterbo, so I'm sure she's saying that. And spoiler, if you do sign up, you can use this Cam Scatterbo emoji. So that is, that could be worth it right there. So 1 pick, and hopefully Trunk on Pappy doesn't take Trey Harris. Feel a lot better about this team. Do I do the double stack, take Io Manor? It's not the worst idea. I'll say that. I might go tight end here. Colby Parkinson's still there, but he doesn't have any tight ends, so I think he might grab one. Take Mason Taylor. You know what? I'm going to. I'll do it. I will take Io Manor. Double stacking Cam Ward. Actually, could see that being an oscillating situation. Neither receiver like an elite fantasy weapon, but each having their games where they get their touchdown, their 60+ yards, etc. That's kind of how it was this past year. And that's when the offense was absolutely horrendous. I do think there will be more competition next year. I expect Cam Ward to take a jump. I think Brian Daboll is going to be good for the team. So I'm going to be quite all right taking some late Tennessee Titans, and Gunnar Helm being another one. That's how a running back room should look. Love it. We got Fantasy Monster in here. Yes, Mike Robb using the Scatterbo gift. And Meg, of course, always a fan of that. So still need 2 tight ends and 1 more receiver in my last 3 picks. But feeling better about this team, this receiver room overall. I think, Saints 1, Washington 1, Chiefs probably 2, Texans 2, Denver's 2-ish, and then maybe the 1 and 2 for Tennessee, or the 2-3, the 1-3, some combo of that. And then the Chargers, I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Harris is the Chargers too. And probably most likely scenario is McConkey, I think, ends up being the clearly established one. And then kind of like what we saw this year where, this year is McConkey, Allen, and QJ would just kind of rotate. Next year, I'm thinking McConkey is like the clear one, and QJ and Harris kind of rotate as the 2-3. At the very least, even if Trey Harris is the 3, pick 191 feels good for a team that could be this good. So, FK grabbing one of my favorite late round running backs in Wilson from the Packers. I have no idea why he goes this late. I have been scooping him up and probably will continue to do so. Let's see if Ryan here passes on K. Dotton. If so, I will be taking him. While he is a free agent, I think there's a fair chance he's back with Baker, so that would give me another stack. But just in general, if not, he's a solid tight end, and in 2024 missed some time with those numbers as well. Solid floor tight end, and he's just going to be out there. And Hayden and Josh did a free agency breakdown, and I didn't agree with all their takes. One thing, Hayden was higher on Otten than Likely, and in a lot of ways it makes sense. Like, Likely's going to need the right scenario, because not every team. Look at how Evan Ingram was used. Clearly the team's pass catching tight end, clearly a great offense, but he just didn't get enough usage to be fantasy relevant. And Likely has those kind of outcomes where Cade Otten could be like a Dalton Schultz. Like, the team just says, okay, we're going to pay you to be a starting tight end. We know you're not the most athletically gifted, but you can produce for us. Last receiver, do I go a rookie? I think I'm going to go with a little bit more certainty here, just given the state of this team. Cooper Kupp, I don't think he retires. If this is his floor, 93 points, fine. But also wouldn't be surprised if next year it rises. Is he going to be the Cooper Kupp of 5 years ago? No, of course not. But I think he can, be like a okay number 2 receiver, and that can be enough this late in the draft on what should be one of the better offenses in the league. They will be likely losing their offense coordinator, which is always a risk. But I just think Cooper Kupp is going way too late in these drafts. Trey Harris is the best run blocker. Yeah, exactly. No, we saw this. They get in the red zone, and Harris would get more red zone snaps than, QJ and even to some extent Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen began to only be out there in 3 wide receiver sets. So that got a little frustrating there. But they would put Trey Harris, if they were in 1 or 2 wide receiver sets, Trey Harris was in the red zone. He was out there because he is a better blocker. And I think he's going to grow, and I think playing McDaniel is going to be very good for him. So that's my hope for him. So we'll tack on tight end. Maybe I'll take a shot at one of these rookies. Chigakonko is fine. I was hoping Gesicki would be back, but Crutches grabbed him. Jatavian Sanders, can make the case. Higbee's a free agent. This one thinned out a little bit more tight end than I expected. Jonnu should get cut, but where does he land? Sorry, Dad. But you did like Trey Harris. Darnell Washington or Cade Stover. As late tight ends. Washington's interesting because I think Jonnu's cut, and Washington will be back out there. Cade Stover, that's a little tougher. Schultz, I think, is absolutely back. So I'm less in on him, but I'm probably looking at one of these rookies, assuming they get back to me, either Claire or Trig. I feel much safer with Max Claire. I think he's probably tight end 2 in this class. Had a nice career at Purdue, then Ohio State. Trig is some of the highest upside. I just worry how NFL ready is he. As I've said before, these tight ends, and I haven't even taken much Sadiq, but these tight ends outside Sadiq, I'm going to have pre-draft. I'm going to have 2 to 4% on these other rookies, but I don't want to be over the board on any of them just because I think they, tight end 2 to tight end 7 in this class is very much up in the air, and it's not as strong as last year where a bunch would go in the 2nd and 3rd round. A couple will, but I don't think it'll be as much as what we saw last year. Great. I'll go next clip. So I ended 3593. Herbert, Mayfield, Cam Ward did end up stacking all of them, though not with primary stacks. Though I know Mike will say Io Manor is a primary stack. But anyways, running back position: Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, Ramondre Stevenson, Jadarian Price. Very strong room. Jadarian Price is probably RB2 or 3 in this class, even though his college teammate Love is RB1. I think he's got a really bright future, a lot of upside. Hopefully he gets a nice landing spot. Receivers: Chris Olave, Terry McLaurin, Xavier Worthy, Jaden Higgins, Troy Franklin, Shamari Dike, Trey Harris, Io Manor, Cooper Kupp. So definitely have some young upside guys. Worthy's still very young. Higgins, Franklin, Dike, Io Manor, and Harris. Have some vets like Kupp and McLaurin, and Olave kind of, he's absolutely in his prime. Hopefully he can stay healthy. It's not by any means the strongest receiver room, but I also always want to keep in mind, like, when I'm building this is very much, if I need the wide receiver position to be my flex, 7 or 8 times, this team's probably dead, because that means our running backs just failed or hurt. So, I'm playing it like I got 3 starters from those 5 running backs, and hopefully I can, cobble together 3 starters every week from these 9 receivers. Tight end wise, Mark Andrews, Kate Otten, Max Clare. I like getting Mark Andrews in the 140s. Likely it's pretty much guaranteed lock to be gone. We just saw Declan Doyle now taking over as offense coordinator. Ben Johnson, under Ben Johnson, we see, what Colson Loveland and tight end meant to his offense. So hopefully Doyle has that kind of similar mindset. And Andrews can get back into being a top 10 tight end. Let's look at the rest of people in here. We got Kramer, 2693, Dak Prescott, Fernando Mendoza, running back Saquon, Kenneth Walker, Bayshall Tootin, Rico Dowdle, J.K. Dobbins, Jaden Blue. So pretty nice running back room. Taking a late shot on Blue to see what happens in the Dallas situation. Kind of double anchored with Barkley, Walker, Tootin. At worst should be the team's RB2. Rico could end up being a starter somewhere. Dobbins, probably an RB2 somewhere. Lamb, Adams, Ricky Tyson, Brian Thomas, Chris Godwin, Trey Tucker, Corey Horton, Brian Flournoy, and Jack Besh. So some young second-year guys and just young guys in general. Double stacking with Mendoza, Godwin, Brian Thomas, guys who had somewhat forgettable years this past year, but Godwin another year removed from the injury. Brian Thomas hopefully second year in the system. A lot of upside there. And then tight end, Goddard, Barner, and then tacking on Travis Kelce is nice. Let's see, King QC, 3773, Dart, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, Bucky Irving, Chuba Hubbard, Emma Johnson, Kamara, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, Adam Randall. So, Bucky is kind of like the anchor, but then kind of taking stands on certain teams with some questionable RB situations, and of course a couple of rookies as well. Went 7 receivers with start of Amon-Ra Neighbors, Watson, Metcalf, adding on Coker, Mims, and Omar Cooper Jr. late, and Loveland, Ferguson, and Gunnar Helm. Let's see. Got FK in here, 3683, and let me know if I missed anyone. Hurts, CJ Stroud, Malik Willis. So, Willis likely to get a starting role. Could be 3 starters, 2 with a lot of mobility upside. JT, Pollard, Jonah Coleman, Sean Tucker, Emmanuel Wilson, Najee Harris. So no situation. Anchor running back Pollard. I think it's pretty likely Tennessee sticks with Pollard. Jonah Coleman, one of the top 3 or 4 backs in the draft. Can easily get a starting role. If not, it should be a significant role. I think Tucker is a good role. I love Emmanuel Wilson's price, and then Naj could find a nice landing spot. Nico, AJ Brown, Devonta, stacking there. Nico with Stroud, Rome, Reed, Tank Dell. So another stack with Stroud, Zach Branch, Bateman. So really nice receiver group. Tucker Craft, I think it's fantastic upside here if he can come back healthy. And then Hunter Henry and Dalton Schultz also stacked. I'm not sure if I saw Crutches or King of QC in here. I don't think so. If you're in here, let me know. Crutches or King of Kings. Sorry. I'll happily review the team, but let me hit up chat real quick. Review my team. Just be aware I know Malik Willis won't stay in Green Bay. I just like team stacking. Gotcha. Bayou Bengal, good seeing you. I saw you on Who Hink's channel earlier. Caught the first draft. Get ready. We got Bill in here who won Senior Bowl. It was the American team. Whichever team was Garrett and Nussmeier. I'm trying to remember which team that was because they dominated. It was not a close game, really, which is unfortunate. Blue ended last year on a good note. That approved. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the Cowboys do with Blue. And first, they need to figure out Javonte Williams. But then, do they trust Blue? He did have one, good game, week 18, but that was also against the Giants. All right, let's do one more draft. I will count it down in a second. So I'll do one more big board draft tonight. And I will enter in 10 seconds. And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. All right, waiting on 9. So sorry if anyone jumped in too early. So hopefully this will fill shortly. And yeah, I appreciate everyone jumping in to chat and watching the stream tonight. Don't think I'll do a stream tomorrow, but I'll be back at it on Monday, likely in the afternoon, but we will see what works. All right, still waiting on 5 people. So yeah, I must have seen the draft fill. Guessing maybe 1 or 2 of you got in the underflow or the pre-flow. So today there wasn't really any NFL news. I did see during the stream the Falcons hired Tanner Engstrom as passing game coordinator. I will try not to hold what happened last year with the Jets against him. I think that could be more of an Aaron Glenn and just Jets in general, Justin Fields situation. So we'll see that means for the Falcons. I did see an underdog earlier. Not sure where the quote came from, but Justin Jefferson on if the Vikings had retained Sam Darnold for the 2025 season, I definitely felt like we would have done better, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm thinking he's not thrilled with JJ McCarthy. So I think we have as I've been saying, a big reason why the GM firing and they need to move on from McCarthy is Justin Jefferson. Like, he is just simply not going to want to play on a team, on a quarterback who can't get him the ball, especially when he's got a great coach like Kevin O'Connell. So that not surprising to hear that come out, but yeah, we'll see what the Vikings end up doing at quarterback. We got Emo Cowboy in here. How's it going, Emo? Hope you're doing well. Doing pretty good myself. About to start a second draft, waiting for 2 people. What's your percentage thought about Malik Willis being a good signing versus being the next Matt Flynn? Well, if he's the next Matt Flynn, we need to find out what quarterback that team's going to draft and get that guy, because Russell Wilson was pretty good. So we got Kings in here. FK is in here. That is it. I definitely recognize line of scrimmage and a few other names, but that's probably it. But Malik Willis, it's tough. Look, what we saw in his first couple of years in Tennessee was not pretty. His last couple of years in Green Bay, much better. But we should keep in mind, he was on a very good team, and he is a very good coach in LaFleur. If he goes to, say, a really bad team, let's say the Jets move on from Fields and they bring in Malik Willis, I don't even know if that's against Malik Willis. It's just, I don't think it's a great team. If he goes to the Dolphins and, they get rid of Tua and they're signing Malik Willis, they are going to have zero money to do anything else in the offseason. So sure, Chain's good, sure, Waddle's good, but probably a terrible offensive line. Just a lot of question marks. So I think a landing spot will matter. His rushing ability gives him potential fantasy upside, particularly for being taken that late. That it's worth the risk if he's going to be a starter. In terms of real life, I wouldn't expect Malik Willis to suddenly be like the next. Hold on 1 second. We'll go JT here. Like the next Drew Brees, right? Who, signed as a free agent and turned the franchise around or anything like that. But I think he can be solid. I think he can be a solid quarterback, productive. Will probably continuously need to rely on his legs, both in real life and, of course, fantasy. So I do think it could be a downgrade to some of the receiving options, particularly if it's a team that has like multiple receiver options. Like maybe the first guy is okay, but 2 and 3, whether it's a tight end or what, we should probably maybe give him a bit of a hit because, as we saw against the Ravens, like Malik Willis had a tremendous fantasy game, but a lot of it was with his legs. But I do think, having some time in Green Bay, learning from that system, he's hopefully grown as a player, and ideally he doesn't go to a complete garbage fire of a situation. So maybe crazy theory since Panthers are in year 5 with Young. I'm under the impression that the Panthers are pot committed for Bryce Young. I know, he's the guy who's gotten benched and all that and dealt with an injury this past year and didn't play great, but did help lead them to a playoff, be it, with all the asterisks that you want with that situation. And he did look good in the playoff game, so I do want to give him credit for that. I don't know. I was surprised. I thought Dave Canales was going to the Bryce Young we saw that came back after the benching 2 years ago, we didn't see a lot of this year. Honestly, that's the Bryce Young we saw in the playoff game. But week in, week out, we were just not seeing that. I'll go big dog. I think obviously Barkley's fine as well. JT, Henry, that feels good. So I think the Panthers, they're going to pick up Bryce Young's 5th-year option. I don't know if they, are going to look to extend him. I think they will say, we'll have you play it out. If you play great, you get the franchise tag. If not, and or extension next year. But I don't see the Panthers going with Willis. I think Vikings are honestly in play for Malik Willis. If Kevin O'Connell, I think in that division now, you have to you're going to need a quarterback to compete. The other three teams are just too good. And if they feel like Willis is their best quarterback option, I think they could do it. But it's probably the least likely. Let's see here. JT, Henry. Let's just go elite running back again. We'll go Kenneth Walker. Dolphins, I know the tie is the Jeff Hafley tie to Malik Willis, so people point that out a lot. I know Steeler fans, if not Aaron Rodgers, I think the Steeler fans want it to be Malik Willis. I think it makes sense. And they're a team that I think, not that Mike McCarthy has really had a running quarterback before. I mean, I guess when he was offense coordinator of the 49ers with Alex Smith before he got the Green Bay job. But, I just think they are actually a team with only one kind of top receiver weapon. So it'd make some sense in that department. And so I could see that. I don't know about, I think you always have a chance, like the Cardinals trade Kyler Murray, and instead of saying we're just going to be okay with the stopgap year of Jacoby Brissett, their new coach might say, I want a real quarterback, like not just a 1 year stopgap of Brissett, and take a shot at Malik Willis. I know, that's the interesting thing, because Willis got some collar comps coming out, shorter, mobile quarterback. I think that's unlikely, but at least possible. How many / which wide receivers will you have ahead of Justin Jefferson if 9 is his quarterback? If they don't bring in competition, I'm just going to have almost no Justin Jefferson. I know that's great. I won't have 0, but I will be under 4%. I will still give him like a 2nd round ranking, just knowing he's got the upside potential. But I am going to just struggle to pull the trigger on him above other 2nd round receivers or running backs. That just have so much more upside with their, running backs in general, and then just better quarterback situations on other teams. So I think I'd still keep him in the 2nd, but I will knock him even a little bit more. To me, because at the end of the 2nd, sometimes Pickens is there, but you have T. Higgins there. You have Chris Olave. Olave has Tyler Shuck as quarterback, and I don't think Olave is near as good. Olave is a very, very good receiver, but he is not Justin Jefferson. But I have way more confidence in Shuck than J.J. McCarthy. And T. Higgins, it's like Joe Burrow versus J.J. McCarthy. We're talking as night and day as it gets. So I've not, I updated my rankings on our Substack. I've actually not updated them in here because I was going to say, I know I pushed Drake May down some and some of these others. Like I'm pretty sure I moved QJ up. I'm not going to take QJ here. I'm going to go receiver. I think I will go Christian Watson. I really like Christian Watson this year. I was impressed with how he came back from the injury and just how he was clicking with Love. I do think Dobbs moves on. I'd said before Wicks was a free agent. I was wrong on that. Wicks is not a free agent, but Romeo Dobbs is, and I do think that helps Christian Watson. We got Huhames checking in. How's it going? I caught the first part of your stream with Bayou Bengal earlier. I definitely recommend people watching that when you get a chance if you haven't already. And so 0320. So ideally I grab a receiver here. 7 picks, but for Sutton and DK, Mike Evans, I already have more than a few teams with Mike Evans. I just don't know what to do with the Arizona duo, Wilson and Harrison. Wilson was really good last year, but I mean, it's not. Harrison was better than people give him credit for, given the injuries and everything. And B, like, he still has the pedigree. He still has the top 5 pick. I do think they are going to try and make him happen. Of course, no, always. We got Pauline checking in. What up, Steve? What is the buzz on Ted Hurst coming out of the Senior Bowl? I mentioned him earlier. Wait, let me make my pick. Don't want to miss a pick. I will take DK Metcalf here. I think this is a good range for Metcalf. Whether it's Rodgers coming back, whether it's Malik Willis. Hopefully it's not Ty Simpson. Wouldn't be a fan there, but I think Steelers, if not Rodgers, if not Malik Willis, they probably go the veteran route. Try and bring in somebody. Could be a Kirk Cousins landing spot if he becomes available as expected. So Hurst, my take on him, fun prospect. I think he's more like a 4th rounder, would be my guess. So I don't have a lot of consideration. I mean, I might do a shot or two in the 20th round of drafts, but until I see a good landing spot, I'll be a little concerned. I think his NFL future is interesting. I think he had a good week at the Senior Bowl, showed, coming from Georgia Southern, he can play with all these schools down there, no question about that. But I just don't think he's going to have enough draft capital to make an early NFL impact. He's probably like a, 2-3 year project. We'll see what he can develop into. Parker Washington Pierce. I mean, I'm going to take Pierce. I have a lot of him, but I think he's either back with the Colts or ends up being one of the more sought after free agent receivers. And he's just a, deep ball guy, but he's also shown to be a red zone guy. He's gotten better in that department. I just think he's a, very complete receiver, and he was outperforming Michael Pittman, at the end there. And I think they're roughly on par. So I won a pretty decent share. When he opened up at like ADP 52 or whatever. I'll to ask FK, who has done such a great job breaking down the ADPs. But I wasn't super interested in Pierce there, but Pierce at 77, that feels good. So unfortunately, and I said this at the top of the show, Paulino, Senior Bowl, I think there's some interesting running backs there. Singleton got hurt, but some of the other ones like Cam Black, Mike Washington, Jamar Taylor, Jay Knott, Adam Randall, intriguing prospects for sure. Could be a couple will sneak into the third, fourth round discussion, and could at least be number 2 backs on their team. So I'll be taking, Mike Washington definitely, but some of those other ones I'll be taking some 20th round shots on. And receiver wise, I think Malachi Fields and Jacoby Lane are the top 2 receiving prospects from the group, kind of third round guys. And, that's who I'm mainly going to use big board capital on. I agree with it. A lot of people were down on the McCarthy hire. Let me make this pick. Boy, I take a lot of Denzel Boston, but I do like him. I'll go DJ Moore though. If it's in Chicago, it's probably not the greatest price, but I actually see him as a big-time trade candidate. But no, Mike McCarthy, his years in Dallas, anytime Dak played, the Cowboys had a top 5 offense. Even portions of years where he only played part of the year. And, the years that he played the majority of the year, they did have a top 5 offense. And I understand he had Kellen Moore. I understand he had then Brian Schottenheimer. So he had some, though people hated the Brian Schottenheimer offensive coordinator switch a couple years ago. Ended up being amazing. But I think people are, knocking, and yes, he's not going to have Dak Prescott as his quarterback. But I also don't think he's going to have, Cooper Rush as his quarterback. Corm is okay. I need a quarterback. I will take Stafford with Devontae. Not expecting him to retire. And so, I think the Steelers end up with, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, Malik Willis, like I said, a veteran, Kirk Cousins, I think they can be a top 20 offense under Mike McCarthy. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing for them overall. You have to add him to draftable, assuming Rodgers is like 60-40 there. At this price, like if he was going, because DK went about 15 spots earlier last year. I got him at 68. He was going like 53, 52 last year. I think the fact that we're getting like a round discount on him, and could absolutely be the same quarterback, was probably a better offensive coach. And if not, it's definitely a better offensive, I think it's a better offensive coach. And I don't mind, I think that's good, especially just, there's a lot of receivers that are just questionable situations right now. I think I don't expect the Steelers to make a big splash at receiver. I'm sure they'll bring in somebody, but I don't think they're going to, they're not going to add Alec Pierce. They're not going to add, Deebo Samuel or something like that. Personally, I think I really need to have landing spots for non-love running backs, a few solid guys, but not really guys who want to bet strongly on versus solidified. No, that is fair, and that I do think, limiting some exposure. think the way I look at it, Price, Emmett Johnson, and Jonah Coleman, I think all are likely to be, their teams 1 or 2. And the fact that all of them are going, 90 to 120, that they're being taken in the range with number 2 backs like Monangai, Corum, etc. Let's go quarterback here with Love. So Stafford, Love start. That feels good. And QB. And they have the potential for upside. Like if Blake Corum, outside of a Kyron injury, has no chance of, to me, no chance of really overtaking him. Same with a couple other running backs in that range. A guy like Jadarian Price could be a clear-cut starter. So I think those are better options in general. Not better options, but depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for certainty, Corum. If you're looking for upside, like a Jadarian Price, a Jonah Coleman, it is, I think, the better way to say that. But yeah, I don't want to end up with a massive percentage of them because landing spot matters quite a big deal. We got Fantasy Football Garage checking in. What up, fellas? Howdy, Steve. Hope you're doing well. Candyman. He's doing best ball pre-draft stuff as well, but definitely be following Candyman if you've any interest in golf. He has been crushing it in the golf streets, going back a couple of years now, I believe. But I know he's doing weekly content for golf. So do I go tight end here? You know what? I'm going to take my guy Emmett Johnson. I might still end up only 5 running backs on this draft with the early investment, Emmett Johnson. It could allow me to go 5 running back. DJ Moore is a great value in best ball right now. Yeah, I think he's a great value if he gets traded. I do worry if he stays on the Bears. It's either he clearly is the 3 or it's just one of those situations kind of like the Chargers last year where there's no true number 1. It's, every week. And there he's the cheapest of the 3, so he's an okay value. But he's a guy who, if he gets traded, he could be a team's clear number 1 receiver. So that's why I'm taking some of them. And yeah, I think he gets traded. Just they save a good chunk of money. I think they'd get like reasonable picks for him. It's not like they're trading him like, for a 6-round pick or something like that. I think it'd be like, I don't know, 2 3s or a 2 and a 4 or something like that. Spike week was more at least. Yeah. No, I think he can give spike weeks even if he stays with the Bears, but I personally am hoping he gets traded. Yeah, I know Bears fans aren't too happy with him, and that's maybe the other reason he gets traded is I don't think Bears fans are going to love him back next year, would be my guess. Cut. I know they'd save some money with cut, but I just don't. I think he's too valuable to get cut. But traded, absolutely. We'll take a Matthew Golden shot. I like Dubs as well. I'm a little higher on him there, but we'll take a shot with Matthew Golden. We already have, 1 Green Bay piece with Watson. We have Love. Let's double stack it. So we're now sitting at 2,460. Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Boy, I mean, I am so fearful that Washington is going to, I think Ayuk gets cut, not traded. But I think they're going to sign Ayuk. And sadly, I think Ayuk is going to get at least some real money. Like, I don't think he's not signing for like $5 million. Some team is going to give him pretty good money, which I'd be very scared to be that team. This is a tough one. So quarterback. I like the Dubs fall. I think Romeo Dubs ends up a starter somewhere. I'm higher on him, and he fell 20 spots in ADP. So that feels pretty good. We got slap it up in here. DJ Moore had so many clutch catches in the playoff run that last round, wasn't it? Though, yeah. No, I mean, they absolutely wouldn't be there without DJ Moore. It's wild. But I just think they move on for a number of reasons. I mean, I think they're more invested in Odunze and Burden. Early first and early second round pick, both with a ton of upside and have shown that upside and potential. Odunze got banged up. And so, Burden was a little banged up as well. So, plus they have Loveland. They've so much invested in other pass catchers. It's just one of those situations, like, how much can you invest in the position as a whole? And this includes Loveland. So, reallocate some of that money. You can easily bring back like a Zacchaeus and draft somebody in the 4th round and, still a decent receiver room beyond your top 2 guys. Yeah, the crash helped it. That would just be my guess. Plus, I think you could get a couple assets. Like I said, a 2nd and a 4th or 2/3, even if you want like ones next year. I think there's a lot of upside for the Bears to do that, but maybe not. I also think it's because it's just, I'm assuming Pickens is franchised. I think Mike Evans is back in Tampa. Alec Pierce might be back with the Colts. Like the receiver free agent position could get thin fast. All right, coming up, definitely could look tight end here. Henry and Andrews both falling quite a bit. This is a conundrum. Andrews goes. I'm going to take Malik Willis just because quarterback, is generally dried up after him. I like Willis as, not just because I have DK and there's a chance he goes there, but I think Willis is a nice guy to pair with a guy like Stafford, who's no rushing ability. Love very little, and then Malik Willis gives me that rushing upside. Like, I'm not, in this type of team, I'm not counting on Willis to be a week in, week out scorer, but if he gives me a few, spike weeks because of his legs, that could really help this team. Yeah, as I said, I updated my rankings yesterday. I put Nicholas Singleton way low. I'm still draftable, but definitely will not be taking him anywhere near 140 where I had him, or 170 is ADP. Tight end has gotten thin. There's no question about that. Running back, Braylon Allen is okay, but I think I need a tight end here. I'm gonna go Travis Kelce. Yes, I know there's retirement risk. This might be a 4 tight end build. Like I said, I still could go 5 running back. And I think my receiver room has really caught up. I feel good about. So I'm actually fine stopping at 8 if need be. So I could go 4 tight end and just take 4 late round tight ends. Kelsey just offers the highest upside here. He was tight end 3 in total points, tight end 8 or 9 in points per game last year. That's with Mahomes missing time at the end. He obviously would have been better in points per game. Mahomes didn't get hurt, and he had quarterbacks those last couple of weeks that could complete the ball. So yeah, I know there's the retirement risk, but I feel like if we know Travis Kelce's 100% back and Mahomes is healthy, I mean, Kelce should be a top, pick easily in the top 140, not top 120. Some not super high. Like he should go somewhere between like 100, probably truly like pick 115. So we're just getting a massive number of rounds of value here, just for the risk if he retires, which is a real risk here. But we have 20 rounds for a reason, and I feel it's well worth it. I've been having a tough time with Terry's price. Do you think Washington adds a real competition and youth to the receiver room? Washington could go a number of different ways. They could draft somebody in the first round. They have an early, top 10 pick. It's guys like Tate and Tyson, or if Lemon is more their flavor, they could easily go with one of those guys. I don't think they're going to add mid-round receivers. They've done that the last couple of years in Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey. Could they sign somebody? Sure. Could they bring Debo back? Sure. But even if they bring back a Debo or sign someone, hopefully it's not Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is probably better for Terry. But even if they bring in somebody, I think Terry is okay at his price. Like, I don't think there's a ton of surplus value, but I think he's good at his price still. Because, excuse me, let me take Schultz here. And so what I was going to say is, you look last year and everything went wrong for Terry. He had the holdout, essentially, and just was never healthy. He got injured a couple times. Jaden got injured 3 times. He still had, a couple games where he looked like himself. And those were few and far between. But I guess I still believe he's probably a 1,100 to 1,200 yard receiver, 7 to 9 touchdowns. So I think he's paying off that price at a decent rate. Joe Mixon is tempting here. The only 5 backs, not the greatest, but I went so heavy running back early. That could just be such a icing on the cake type of pick. If he actually comes back healthy, I will do it. A little risky, but this is the type of team I'm going to be anchored by. JT, Henry, Walker. I think Emmett Johnson can get a nice landing spot, and hopefully Joe Mixon can come back. Probably still only going 5 running backs. We got Paul checking in. What's good, Fanspeak fam? Did you see Dylan obvious height measurement? Yeah, they did. 5'9", 7'8". They couldn't give him the 5'10". That is rough. But I mean, the reality is, I think Vanderbilt listed him 6 foot, so they were a little off, whichever way you count. I think he's just going to have a tough time at the NFL level. I mean, I'm sure he'll could get drafted, make a team, probably more likely a practice squad, because very few teams carry 3 quarterbacks. And, he could fight and work himself into a backup role for sure. I mean, it's definitely not as much money, but he's the type of guy who'd probably do well, like the UFL, right? He's got some mobility, okay enough arm. His size limitations aren't going to matter near as much there. But I think he fights. You got to give him a lot of credit for his attitude. And I mean, sometimes it can be a little much, but he has no quit in him. And, some teams will love that. So I think just one more receiver and I think two more tight ends. Probably hitting a tight end here. And we'll see what LG3K40 does. They definitely need a tight end as well, but they don't go. We'll go K-Dot, and I think a fair chance he's back in Tampa. And if not, probably gets a pretty decent landing spot. I tried a new build style, and boy, let me tell you, I hate it. Well, I can't wait to review the team. Seen a pick or two here as we've gone through, but right now 2592. So I'll be looking forward to see how that team looks when we finish this up. So yeah, I'm sitting at 3573. I do think it's slightly risky with Joe Mixon because he could potentially be zero, but my running back room is so strong up top. I think it's worth it to only stick at 5. I will add on another receiver or another tight end and another receiver. Tight end potentially first, Mason Taylor. Don't want to have a ton of Jets, I'll be honest. That situation just seems like such a mess. I think guys like Freiermuth and Gesicki are just safer options right now. Might go Gesicki. I mean, I don't know if I want a ton of Steelers. So get a piece of the Bengals. Feels a little better. And that'll be my 4th tight end. No, and I do think this, and I'll try and show more of these on stream, is I do think having varied lineups is particularly if you're doing volume, is absolutely key. A, can help your different combinations, and B, can just simply, by doing something weird, doing something different, you force yourself to probably take players you're not generally as high on. And that can lead you to just, unique winning combos and guys that you wouldn't normally have drafted. Like I don't think I'm going to have many 4 tight end builds even in 20-round format, but a lot of times when I take Kelsey, usually if I take a tight end above Kelsey, I'm not going to do a 4 tight end build because I'm counting on that guy and then the Kelsey upside and then whatever. Maybe it's 2 tight ends above Kelsey. But this time with Kelsey being my lead tight end, well, the upside's there. I wanted some more depth just in case him coming back this year. So I'm up. I will go Jack Bash. I think he's got a chance to step into a bigger role this year. Raiders probably add a receiver, but I think they'll at least give Tucker and Besh a shot. So that's my last pick. We have King of Kings, who will be finishing this up. Technically, after 5, whenever I talk about a player, I'm probably a version of high on him. All right. I will look at my team first. Stafford, Jordan Love, Malik Willis. Definitely feel like I got 3 starting quarterbacks there. This is a little risk. I don't think Stafford's retiring, but it's definitely not a 0% chance. And we don't know for sure Malik Willis gets a starting role, but it seems the most likely scenario. JT, Henry, Kenneth Walker. That's definitely going to lead my team, both running back room and just team in general. Emmett Johnson, Joe Mixon rounding out the running back room. For waiting at receiver, Devontae, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Alec Pierce, DJ Moore. I think that's a good top 5 group. Adding in Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs is pretty sure going somewhere else, and Jack Bash. I also like the value that I got on guys like Golden. 16 picks past ADP, Doubs 19 picks past ADP. So I feel like that turned out pretty solid. And then Travis Kelce, I took him a little above ADP, but as I said earlier, like his value upside is so huge. And then to get Schultz 10 picks past ADP feels good coming off the year that he had. Kate Otten, I think solid, and Mike Gesicki as well. So generally happy with that team. Let's look at King Kings, 3683, Hurts, Tyler Shuck, CJ Stroud, Bijan, Chase Brown, Jadarian Price, Sean Tucker, Brian Robinson, and Chris Rodriguez. So, I think top 3 backs, very likely all starters. Tucker, Robinson, Rodriguez, probably number 2s. I definitely still like Rodriguez more than JCM at their current prices. Olave, Mbuka, Waddle, Denzel Boston, Jaden Higgins. He did go Brandon Ayuk. For me, I'm just going to see him lower or just know the landing spot. Boy, I have a tough time trusting it. I know there's talent there, but talent doesn't always mean everything if you're not going to be willing to put it on display. Malik Washington and Malachi Fields. Overall, I think that receiver room can withstand the risk of Brandon Ayuk. And, because I like the top 5. And, Washington and Fields are solid behind them. Warren, Hunter Henry, and TJ Hawkinson. Even if Hawkinson gets cut, probably could have a decent landing spot. And pretty nice team. So did my team already. Then we'll do FK's team. He said he did a different build structure. 3-6-9-2. Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett. Very fair chance that he's got 3 starters. And even if it ends up with 2, Lawrence and Nix are pretty good. Etienne, and then a big jump to weight. So it's like double anchor, and then Mason, Sampson, Claiborne, Najee Harris. Receivers, A.J. Brown, Jordan Tyson, Cortland Sutton, Jaden Reed, Keyshawn Boutte, Travis Hunter, Jerry Jeudy, Jacoby Lane, Jeremy Bernard, and then tight end. Tight end feels pretty good. Trey McBride and Tucker Kraft. Easily can see why you're stopping at 2 with those guys. Overall, I know you stacked Sutton with Nix, and you have Hunter with Lawrence, and I think that was it. Yeah, you didn't get Parker Washington, but ETN, so your team stacked there, and then Brissett, you didn't even try and go any Arizona outside of Trey McBride. So so you did. So overall, I was going 2 early running backs, but also 2 early tight ends. Didn't like it. what I'll say with it, I get like it feels more uncomfortable. So I get where you're coming from there. I think overall, you had 9 receivers. I don't like love, Jerry Jeudy and stuff like that, but like betting on the Browns and there, I get there's like more risk with some of these picks, like Kayshon Boutte. If they bring in somebody else, or Kyle Williams takes a bigger role, Travis Hunter, how much is he on defense? 3 rookies, like, landing spot, where are they? It's AJ Brown traded, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a path for that to be a more than, a quality receiver room. What I'll say is, I do think, this is a team where if it's just Trey McBride and Tucker, and you're just getting the best tight end score, that's probably not going to be great. But if they're having the years that they had last year and Tucker stays healthy, you would be getting flex quality scoring from whichever tight end is not starting. So then it can pay off, because then you're not always needing 4 players from the receiver room. Because I think the one concern would be, how often are Mason, Sampson, Claiborne, Najee filling that flex spot? So if your tight end is filling it a fair number of times, then it can probably be okay, because, if you're talking AJ Brown and Sutton, and then everyone else kind of mostly handling that third wide receiver role, yeah, I think it can be fine. So let's see what chat has to say. Trini, what team were you, Trini? Did I miss it? Let me look. Oh, here we go. I think Trini 23-23 is a pretty good bet for what team it was. So let me review it real quick. 2783, Lamar, Caleb. Really good quarterback room. Gibbs, Bucky, double anchor running back. I like Rico at this price. I think he gets a solid landing spot. Aaron Jones, Keaton Mitchell, Rashard Smith, Mike Washington Jr. Nice mix of young guys. Mitchell on paper right now is the number 2 guy in Baltimore. It is a new staff. We should be aware of that. Aaron Jones could get cut, but Aaron Jones, I don't think he's done playing. I think he's still got juice. So, get a shot to land somewhere decent. Nico, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, Josh Downs, Jalen McMillan, Sharp Bateman, Jalen Knoll. Nico, Rome, Brian Thomas. I've said all along, Worthy, I think, is about 20 picks behind where he should be. I think he should go in the late 70s. Downs, if Pierce leaves, I think Downs ends up being a good value. If Pierce comes back, I think Downs is fine at 142, but probably not like a massive value. Overall, I think it's a solid receiver room. Then tight end, Gadsden, Strange. We feel really good about those offenses, and likely we'll see where he ends up. I don't think he's back in Baltimore, so I don't think you're getting stacked there. But other than that, I think it's a good team. So appreciate you drafting with us, Steve the Value Hound. Yeah, that's what I try. Yeah, mine is too. Yeah, no, but the ugly ones is where it's at. Kraft can definitely end up as tight end 1 if fully. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think you're betting on, I potentially have the top 2 tight ends. If they did what they did anything near last year, 14 points a game, I think Kraft was averaging like 12.5 points a game. That's better than a lot of receivers. So that's what I mean. They can pay off in your flex for you enough. I think it can be worth it. Well, I appreciate everyone for jumping in chat, jumping in the stream, jumping in the drafts. I'm going to be getting out of here in a second. I want to mention again, we did add the YouTube memberships. We have 2 levels. Check it out. You can get emojis. We're going to do YouTube member-only shows for the higher level, do some other perks and benefits for both. But we appreciate everyone, whether you're just watching, liking our episode. Please like our episode. Join us in our free Discord. We're having a lot of great conversation every day in the Discord chat. We also have our Substack, where for 1 year, one payment, you can get full year, not just best ball content, but everything Degen you need, from betting, props, DFS, everything else. So I appreciate everyone for your support. Jeff, Steve, did you say you're taking tomorrow off? Yes. I'm not going to be doing a show tomorrow. I'm right after this. I am going to be taping our first YouTube member show, and so tomorrow I don't think I'll be doing the show. Monday I will be back. Not sure what time yet. Feeling in the afternoon, but not sure. We will let you know in both Discord and, of course, on Twitter. Pop-up stream was awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, thank you guys. No, I enjoyed it. I want to do something after the Senior Bowl, and just, I'll be doing something probably generally 5+ days a week. Some weeks 6, some weeks probably 7, but definitely wanted to do a longer stream to get a couple drafts in. Love talking ball. Next week's going to be a little weird with the Super Bowl. I'll definitely do drafts a number of days, but probably not next weekend or anything. Anyways, hope everyone has a great night, great day, and I will catch everyone next time. Peace.